Hey guys, it's RCK and I'm glad to have you back here again today. I know I've been slacking on the videos lately for this week. What has happened is I have started a new career for myself and I've been not really able to do any recording when I get home in the afternoons just due to the fact of me normally having a few Dominions turns to do, and then on top of that I've been trying to go to bed early, so I just haven't been able to have time to record videos. But of course, I'm going to try to schedule myself some time to record a couple of videos every weekend and have them spaced out throughout the week. I will definitely try to not go as long as I did this week without having a video. So today we're going to be going over LA Swarmhive. I plan to play them in a game here shortly. I'm not sure how long it will take for me to start uploading videos for them, but this is just my first reactions to them. I have not looked at this nation before ever. This is going to be a nation I've never played. So I just kind of wanted to give like a first impression video in a way, even though I'll say it's a guide or a national, well, I'd say it's a national overview. I won't particularly say it's a guide. And I'll just go through the units and kind of figure out what we have going on. So we're going to go ahead and start off from reading here. Humans, mercs, not sure what that word, but I assume it's ants just from looking. Blind, magical insects with hard carapace, mountain survival, forest survival, can live underwater, so we might have some ways to go underwater, which is quite interesting. Prefers heat, so human infantry, and then human heavy cav, sacred heavy infantry, and cavalry can produce resources. Interesting, so it's like like some almost units or almost mages almost. So magic is astral, nature, water, earth, air, and fire. Like kind of lacking in the air and fire, so they might be only path ones. I noticed that we don't have death and we don't have blood, which those are very, very nice things to have. So quite interesting, but having astral means normally enough we'll be able to go fairly high into these paths, so we should be okay. Our priests are weak, a few powerful, so we might have a holy 3, we might not, we might just have holy 2s. Sea fathers can lead people underwater, so we do have underwater commanders. Bonus, bless bonus, so nature bonus gets +2. I will not be going over my pretender or my bless for this video, of course, because the game has not yet started. I think in just a few days it might actually start. Buildings, advanced forts starts with a grand citadel. Swarmhive queens can build better forts, so I assume we're going to be able to build citadels. Can build underwater forts, so that might be very interesting. Temples cost 600, that sucks. Temples cost 300 in caves, okay, that's interesting. And labs cost 400. Okay, not too bad, not too bad. This will be a Disciples game. I'll be playing LA Swarmhive. As far as my teammates go, I have Zan. He also has a YouTube channel. Novell, if anyone knows him, he is a very good undead player. That's all he plays. And then we also have Coconut, which is a really, really good player, guys. He's currently in Lucid's tournament. He's in the very last, and I'm rooting for him. So we'll go ahead, we'll look at our sites here. We have a High Temple of the Swarm, and then we have these mines. Okay, we get 2 Astral Pearls per turn, which is pretty good. I like getting Astral Pearls. And then 1 Nature Gem. You can enter for combat training, which is interesting, and these are the recruits we can get from it. I assume they're all, can only be recruited in your capital. And then we have the mines here, and that just gives us 1 Earth Gem a turn. So altogether, our gem income is going to be 2 Astral, 1 Nature, 1 Earth. So quite interesting. We'll look through, I guess we'll look through these units first, and then go over the commanders. So I have a Mirmek warrior worker. I'm pretty sure you pronounce that Mirmek. Mirsme, yeah, some Mirmek. I'll just call it that for now. 6 gold, 2 resources, 3 recruitment points. Okay, 6 hit points. Strength is 6, attack skills 8, defense skills 9. So very cheap unit. I see they're a slave. So they have 0 upkeep. That is very interesting. That's pretty cool, actually. But they are very crappy. But 6 gold, 0 upkeep, that's actually pretty cool, though. I like that. Poison resistance 3. They're a magical being. That might come into play depending on how much magical leadership my commanders have. So we'll have to look at that later for sure. Like I said, guys, this is the first time I'm ever looking at this nation. There's 55 stealthy, mountain, far survival. They have a siege bonus, which is cool, and they have a supply bonus. Okay. Castle defense bonus. They're blind, so darkness and things like that don't affect them. They're slaves, so they have lowered morale, and they have a promotion. This unit gets promoted in turn into another unit if it gains enough experience. Cool. They're size 1, which is interesting. I like that they're size 1, so you'll be able to fit 6 to a square. A very weak bite attack doing 8 slash damage. Definitely could be much better. But pretty interesting. Let's see what their siege strength. Okay. A siege strength of 1.4 for a 6 cost unit, 6 gold unit that has 0 upkeep is very interesting. So more than likely with this nation, we'll be able to break down forts really fast. So looking forward to that. And they have 10 protection ice, from natural protection here. So very interesting, nice. Not too bad, could be a lot worse. We have a swarm archer, which looks like a human troop. Looks like we have a mixture of ants and humans. 10 gold, 21 resources, so very high resource cost for an archer. Recruitment points of 9. They have a composite bow. Protection 14, rather high protection for an archer too. Morale's 11 is nice. I mean, it's not great, but it's nice. It's nicer than 7. Attack skill stuff average because they are an archer unit. So a composite bow, okay, I can work with that. And a mace, so they still hit pretty decent. Interesting. And they have dark vision 50. Okay, that's not bad. Let's go on to the next one. We have a Merrimack War Worker. Okay, so 11 gold, 4 resources, 11 recruitment points, 9 hit points, 9 strength, attack skill 10, defense skill 8. Average, a little lower than average there, so not the best. They're size 2 instead of size 1. 12 protection, so their protection has gone up some. Morale of 9, they're still a slave. So they only cost 3 upkeep a year, so still very cheap. Map move 16, not bad. Poison resistance 3, they're magical. Stealth 40, so they have a lower stealth. Siege bonus of 1. Castle bonus of 1. They're blind. They're formation fighter, which is interesting. So you'll probably be able to fit 4 to a square, I think, instead of 3 to a square. They have a resource bonus. That's kind of cool. 11 gold. So very cheap. You'll be able to make a whole lot of these, so you really wouldn't have to worry about resources. They have their promotion ability as well. They have a bite and a pinch latch. What does that mean? Armor negating, max 1 point of damage. Strength of the wielder not added. -6 attack skill. Oof, that's rough. Length 1, only chance used corrode iron. So maybe this is going to be able to get rid of their armor some way. I will have to look that up for sure. That is interesting, but with an attack skill of only 4, I doubt it's going to happen very often. So yeah, I really doubt that's going to be happening very often if the units have any defense skill at all. But still, a very cool unit. I like the resource bonus for these worker ants. It's very thematic in a way. Just the more you have working, that means the more resources you have available to you. So that's pretty cool. We have a swarm infantry. 13 gold, 20 resources, 16 recruitment points. So getting a little bit more expensive. Formation fighter of 2 with a bronze spear, length 3, 13 pierce damage. Not too bad. They do have shields, which is nice. 14 protection. That's all in armor. That's pretty good. Not too bad. I feel like it's priced fair. Maybe a little high on the recruitment point side. 14 protection, okay. 12 morale's decent. Did they have dark vision 50 as well? Yes, they did, okay? Then we have Swarm Infantry. About the same cost-wise. Kind of high defense skill. What was the defense skill of this one? Okay, 13, and this one's 14, okay. I'm sure their bronze sword gave them an additional point +1 to their defense skill, but we'll look at that in a minute. Protection 14, okay, a average of what they had before, and yet that gave them an extra +1 to their defense skill and then 1 to their attack skill. It's only a length 1 weapon, but it does have pierce and slash, dealing 14 damage. So I feel like this is a pretty good unit. I like the higher defense skill added onto it. And they still have shields, of course. Not too bad. And we have a Swarm Guardian. Looks like this guy has a glaive, which he does. It's a bronze glaive. Length 3. Dealing around 21 pierce damage and slash after that. 15 gold, 30 resource points. Goodness gracious. And then 21 recruitment points. But he's going to be sitting with 18 protection while also being a formation fighter. So you'll be able to fit 4 of these guys to a square. Yeah, it sucks they don't have a shield, but they still have a Legionary Bronze helmet and Swarm Plate armor, so they should be pretty well protected with their 18 protection. I feel like archers might be able to deal with chip damage at that point. Yeah, crossbows are definitely going to still tear them up. But as far as short bows go, I think they should be fine against them. They have 50 dark vision, they are a bodyguard unit, and they have a castle defense bonus of 2, which is nice. But as far as their defense skill is rather low. I'm sure the glaive is not helping them. Oh, the glaive is, but it's dropping the attack skill, being 12. So quite interesting. It's a good unit. If you definitely want to try to deal heavier damage to something, say if something has higher protection or something like that, or you want to deal a lot of damage, say like giants or something, this would definitely be the unit you want to use, because with the formation fighter, they'll be able to fit more to a square, and then having a very high damage attack, they'll be able to chop up the high HP pools that they would have. Next, we have a Godsworn Infantry, 20 gold, 25 resources, and 23 recruitment points. I guess in a sense, we really don't have to worry about resources too much, because if we want to use those workers or if we want to keep the worker slaves in our capital, or more than likely it's going to be our capital, or any other citadel that we make, we probably won't have to worry about resources too much. It's probably going to be recruitment points that will cap us in the end. 12 hit points, size 2, attack skill 12, defense skill 14, protection 15. Pretty good, but this is morale 14 is nice. This is going to be our unit that will hold any bless that we decide to get. Encumbrance of 6, that kind of sucks, but it's because they're wearing heavy armor, I assume. Yeah, they're Godsworn chorus here, giving them 15 body protections, also giving them 2 encumbrance, and their shield is also giving them 1. So yeah, his base is 3. A short bronze trident, though, deals decent damage. Not too bad. Dark vision 75. So more than likely our troops, if we ever had to fight in a cave, or if an enemy had to ever cast the darkness, or maybe even if we decide to cast darkness, it seems like our ants are blind, and all of our infantry, human troops, have dark vision, either 50 or 75. So pretty decent there. Not too bad. We have a Miramac Warrior. Like I said, I think I'm saying that right. I could be saying it wrong or butchering it in some type of way. But either way, that would be okay. 22 gold, 16 resources, 32 recruitment points. Very, very high on the recruitment point side. So more than likely, taking order would be very, very good for us, just to increase the total amount of recruitment points that we have. 21 hit points, so kind of pretty high, or pretty high HP pool. Or at least double for our humans. 14 strength, which is getting better. 11 attack skill, 9 defense skill, so very average as far as that goes. 14 protection, I'm sure that's all natural protection. It is. 12 magical resistance. 11 morale. Okay. Combat speed 13. Encumbrance 2. Map move up 18 is kind of nice. So I almost assume they're kind of like Cav, maybe. I thought it'd tell you kind of the average of what human Cav. So poison resistance, like we said, magical being, mountain, forest, siege bonus. They're blind. They're formation fighters, but they are size 4 units. I wonder if you can fit 2 to a square. Yeah, you should be able to fit 2 to a square with them being formation fighters. Slaves, they're still slaves. 9 gold a year, not bad, but they are kind of more expensive, so you wouldn't want to throw these guys away. And they are bodyguards, very interesting. They have a venomous bite, which I assume has a poison. Yep, they have a weak poison that's added on if it gets hit. Charge bonus for first strike, okay. Armor negating, strength of wielder is not added, but they have to, yeah, that extra effect on damage, so they have to hit at least to cause that. They have the pincer latch, armor negating, max 1 point of damage, strength of wielder not added, -4 to attack skill. So not as bad as the other one since they still have 7 attack skill, so I feel like they're still going to be able to at least get some hits in with this, maybe. And then they have a corrosive spit, which is interesting. Damage, and it's going to deal 7 acid damage. Okay, armor piercing, which is pretty interesting. It's not a damage type that you see very often. 1/3 of the wielder's strength is added. Range, strength divided by 3. Precision 2. Ammunition 3, so they only get 3 shots. This weapon is sometimes used in melee and extra effect corrosion. I'm reading the bottom. That's just saying about the area of effect. I assume this also has to deal with maybe it's like melting the units or melting their armor or something. Well, I know it's going to deal damage regardless. So I'm not sure what the extra effect does though. But it's pretty interesting nonetheless. We have a Swarm Knight. Looks like this is going to be, well, still combat speed of 12. What does a normal human have? Combat speed of 9. So I wouldn't necessarily think of these guys as Cav units, even though they're slightly faster as humans. They're still rather slow. So that's interesting. This one here is very expensive. 50 gold, 43 resources, 63 recruitment points. Protection 18, defense skill 16, attack skill 12, Protection's nice. So just in my opinion, basically this is just a heavy knight. Now I'm not sure if the rider dies if you still have the ant or not, and if the ant can be remounted if it goes to a castle. That could possibly be true there, because I know how like spider riders and things like that, I know that's how they work. So that might be a possibility of them just turning into a separate unit, because I mean, this is basically a heavy knight that has a corrosive spit. Siege bonus of 2. Formation fighter, so you'll be able to fit 2 through a square, which is nice for these guys for sure. It's definitely going to help out their defense skill. And they have Dark Vision 75. Bronze Spear, Venomous Bite, Pincer Lash, and then Corrosive Spit, which is a little bit stronger because they have a higher strength there, I believe. Range of 3. That's very, very short range. But yeah, this is something I'm going to have to test. I really wonder if the rider dies, if the ant stays, and he can be remounted. I hope that's the way it is. Because if not, yes, that's a very, very expensive for a 13 hit point unit there. I mean, not saying that heavy Cav has more hit points. It's just, I don't know. I just don't like it as much. Actually, I think it just said it right there. Hold on. No, that was not it. Hold on. It's effective during a siege, as both human and rider warrior will contribute to their efforts. Maybe not. Maybe I just didn't read the right part. Okay. So we're looking at the God Sworn Knight now. I can only assume that this one's going to be a sacred, but it's going to be having even more increased cost, being 75 gold, 63 resources, and 71 recruitment points. Very, very expensive here for still a 13 hit point unit. Defense skill of 18, nice. Protection 20 is nice. So maybe some of these are worth making in small squads, having them on hold and attack rear or attack rear. Sacred, Gluttony, Interesting. Blind, formation fighter. And then your average attacks like we've already gone over prior. So we will go ahead and skip over this. Kind of low map movement, but I guess due to the fact of them being like heavy cav. Combat speed of 12. Then we have a Marmech warrior, special terrain required for recruitment, 514. I'm not sure what that means. I wonder if these are the guys you can recruit underwater. They're able to breathe underwater and accustomed to lives in swamps. Either they can be made in swamps or they are made underwater. I'm not entirely sure. Hopefully enough they can be made in swamps, because if they can be made in swamps, it might be a lot easier for us to go underwater if that's the case. So hopefully they are. 6 gold, 2 resources, 3 recruitment points. They are a slave, they have promotion, siege bonus, stealthy, and they're amphibious. Quite interesting. Attack skill 9 and 8, protection of 8, and 0 gold upkeep. Okay. I can work with that. And then I assume these are the promotions as they go on, just like how this one would go from this worker to the war worker. Then the war worker can turn into the warrior. But then at that point they would lose their resource bonus. That would kind of suck. But I guess those would be the ones that are being sent into battle at that point. So maybe that might be very useful for us. So we already looked at the worker. We'll look at this war worker, and I assume it's basically the same. Yeah, it's basically the same thing as the other, by having a resource bonus and stuff. It's just an amphibious version of it, which is kind of cool. Looks like we'll have access to we'll have access to our ants underwater. And then, yeah, this is the last version here, being the amphibious one, kind of expensive. So quite interesting. And then after that, we can go ahead and we can start on our commanders here. And this is going to be, of course, the real meat of the nation, because as you can tell, we do have a lot of mages here. So we have the Myrmic Brigadier, 40 gold, 10 resources, 1 recruitment point. Leadership 1. It's interesting. That has normal unit leadership of only 1. I guess you can put like I don't know what you're going to do with that. I mean, I assume with this unit here that you would want to be just leading your ants with him. I don't know why he would have 1 leadership and then 40 magical leadership. He does come into battle with 2 workers, so that's quite interesting. That's kind of cool. I like that. So, just a small leader to move guys around with. Yeah, they'll be getting a -1 morale bonus. I do see the slaver kind of thing. Yeah, taskmaster. They get -1 from his leadership, and then +2, leaving some of the worker guys at 8, I believe, which is very, very low. Hopefully enough we can have better commanders leading those guys for sure. 50 siege bonus of 3, not too bad. So what is it? So he has a siege strength of 4, quite impressive. And he has a random magic skill. Has a 10% chance to either get earth or astral. Quite interesting, I like that. Maybe we could use him as, well, I wouldn't really say a small thug. I mean, if you did, you can do iron skin, take him up to protection 20, but still, I don't think he'd really be that good. Have some people to kind of block with him. It has full equipment slots, so maybe it's quite interesting. He has equipment slots. So he's missing the shoes and he gets that extra miscellaneous slot. That's kind of cool. Yeah, I like that. Alright, next we have a Swarm General. I assume he will have higher magical resistance. No. Okay, so he's only got 40 leadership still. But due to the fact of him having a very, very high leadership, normal leadership here, he's going to get +2 to the squads regardless. And he's also a taskmaster +1, so it will take those regular workers from 7 up to 10, which is quite better, or which is a lot better. 150 gold, quite expensive though. Resource, that's okay. I figured him being one of these knight type troops, he's gonna have high resources, 18 protection and defense skill, and an attack skill of 13 and 17. So he should be able to hold his own if units actually got to him. Morale 15, so decent. Yeah, leadership 120. All of our human troops will most likely be led by this guy, and then we would of course bring any ants that we have along with him as well, just because they'll have an extra bonus to morale. He does have a chance to random a magical skill as well. Okay, so a 20% chance to random an astral one. Could be good, could be bad, depending on how much astral we actually have in this nation. Just due to the fact of, if you're raiding with this guy, someone can, and if he was an astral one, hypothetically speaking, someone could send in an astral one of their own and do magic duel, which could end up killing this guy straight out and then causing your army to retreat. So there'd be problems there with raiding if that was the case, but I mean that's not always the case. But if he's in armies and he's an astral one, he can always be a communion slave. Depending on what you're doing, because I mean sometimes it's fine being a astral one communion slave. Usually if you're casting astral spells, but if you're casting off spell magic that this unit doesn't have, say the master was casting fire spells and this only being a astral one, it would cause him to have extra fatigue added onto him, which would cause trouble for him. More than likely that would be running the communion slaves very, very hot, causing some of them to kind of blow up. So that's something you have to keep in mind. What other tag do we have here? We see we have a defense organizer. If anyone doesn't know what this means, it says the unit will increase the province defense value of this province he is in. Defense cannot not increase higher than 19 with this ability. Multiple units with this ability will not increase the speed of the defense organizing of a single province. So with this guy sitting in it every turn, it's going to add one province defense up to 19, which is quite interesting. So more than likely, I'd probably put it up to 6 to begin with. If I wanted to use these guys, of course, if they're just sitting around, I would probably always make sure to at least put it up to 6 so I wouldn't have any villains attacking me. And then I would let them kind of sit there and increase the total amount of PD, raising it up to 19. That could be an idea there, because I'm sure they would be able to pay for themselves or pay for their own upkeep, even though they are 150 gold. They are 120 gold a year, so they would cost 12 gold a turn. But with this, by the time you have to get a few turns in. So once you get around PD 11, and then it goes 12, 13, 14, 15, at that point they'll be paying for themselves every turn, just due to the fact of them pretty much providing you with province defense costing more than their upkeep per turn per month. So, I mean, you could use them like that. So, quite an interesting unit to have, a lot to think about, because you will definitely be wanting these guys if there's not a higher leadership troop. And we will continue to look through. Maybe we will find one, maybe we won't. That was right there as a Swarm General. So I'm hoping the God Swarm General will be more, but we do not know yet. So we have God Voice. Just your, oh, it's kind of more expensive. Priest level 1, Sacred. He's a Taskmaster, that's probably why. Leadership 40, Magical Leadership 20, 65 gold for a Holy 1. Not too great. But that's probably because he has Taskmaster added on, while having decent leadership and magical leadership. That's what's going on here. And 20 resources, but that's because he has 14 protection. Quite interesting. Swarmhive Communicant. Okay, I'm liking what I'm seeing here. 60 gold, kind of expensive. 2 recruitment points. He's going to get some stuff added on in the battle. He's going to have some worker ants with him. Human size unit, human skills, 12 protection, not bad. Magical resistance, 13 is good. And I mean, Astral 1 with 6 resource, or 6 research points. And, ooh, siege bonus of 3. Castle defense bonus of 3. I like that. You would think it would be higher. It's weird. But, I do like this here. I can see us making a lot of these units. What is their cost? Relatively low on cost as well. I mean, you're looking at 4 gold per turn for each one of them. So not too bad if they were sacred. I would have really liked if they were actually sacred. At that point, they've been very, very cheap. Might be very, very useful if we go for Magic 3, pushing them up to 9 research points a turn, being 60 gold. That might be good. 23 resources for this mage here. Quite interesting. Not something you usually see. Taskmaster plus 3. And they have magical leadership of 50, but they do have a -1 due to their low normal leadership. So interesting. An adept researcher and a resource bonus of 5. Oof, that's nice. It's very nice that you're having them sit there. I mean, they basically would count for 5 workers for every one of these guys you have sitting around researching. Kind of cool. I like this. I like this. Next, we have a Swarm Wizard. I like all the names we have here. 60 gold, 2 resources, 2 recruitment points. So very low protection. Looks like he's going to have 2 random paths. He's a philosopher. That means for every point in sloth that you have in your dominion, this researcher is going to get +1 to his research points per turn. So if you have sloth 3, he's going to be 8. No, he's going to be 11 research points per turn. And then magic will also stack onto that, so it'd probably push him up to 14, which would be a great researcher. By that point, you'd be in sloth 3, and I notice a lot of your troops do have very, very high resource cost. So that would put you being very, very dependent on having lots of your worker ants and things like that sitting at home. So that's something to think about for sure if you want to do that. Let's see his randoms here. So 100% random to either get fire or earth, and 100% random to either get air or water. So we're going to see a lot of either fire water, which they could do some acid type spells, or fire air. Could be better. And then we could either see a lot of earth air and then earth water. Possibility on light thugging there for raiding PD, possibly, for any earth random. So I think either one of those would be decent, I guess. Either earth air or earth water. I mean, earth air could do something like air shield, iron scan, give him a gem from his form maybe. And then water can do like liquid body and stuff like that. So possibilities there. But this is for the philosopher. So if you do take productivity instead of sloth, keep in mind it will go down a point for every productivity you have. So if you have productivity 3, you'll have 5 research points instead. Yep. Just making sure I was right on that, and I am. I'm trying to read some of this. Sometimes I try to read it, sometimes I don't. Quite interesting. I will have to go through it and read all of this. They're gifted a near perfect dark vision, which comes from a prolonged life underground. So I have 75. Okay. Okay, max age of 50. Okay. Next we have a Swarm Evoker. Oof, this is a very, very nice mage we have here. 165 gold, 2 recruitment points, 9 HP, protection 3, magical resistance 15, morale 12, okay. Leadership 15, magical leadership of 30, so they can lead some troops with them. So you're going to have a fire 1, or just from this 165 gold unit mage here, it's going to be a fire 1, water 2, earth 1, astral 1. So just knowing that, these more than likely are going to be your communion masters. So very, very, you'll be able to kind of go higher in these paths, of course. Let's see what the randoms are. So you have a 10% chance, so very, very, not very likely that you'll get these, but chance on every path that you have. Oh, but there's a chance to get a air one added onto this. So that air one might be very, very valuable to you. But either way, with these Earth astral paths, you'll be able to make a communion matrix and things like that. So you'll be able to throw just about any path into a communion regardless. So that's very good. But you'll be able to get be able to drop down some high fire, water, earth, and astral spells regardless. If they were communion masters, they do have old age, which is unfortunate. They're alchemists, so this unit is exceptionally good at converting magic gems to gold using magic rituals. Kind of cool. Sometimes it comes in handy, sometimes you just don't need it, but it's nice to have and not need it than need it and not have it. So I expect to really be bringing these guys along, being kind of the head of the Mage Corps, being the Communion Masters, and that's just what I see so far. I'm sure we'll find some other stuff since we haven't finished yet. And what do we have here? So now I can already tell here that we have a Astral 1, Air 1, so we're not going to have to worry about trying to get air into the Communion. 225 gold, so more expensive than the last unit, of course. 0 protection. They get an extra miscellaneous slot here, which is interesting. So they have a hand, head. They can only wear crowns. Interesting. That's something I will have to remember. They cannot have a helmet. They can only have crown or laurels. Body, feet, and then 3 miscellaneous slots. Okay. 55 magical leadership. They still have a -1 to morale. They're Taskmaster. They have Philosopher. So they will be better researchers. And Sloth, they have an Adept researcher. They're Spies. Spies are cool to have, guys, if you've ever played with them before. If not, if you ever have them for your nation, you should definitely at least try them out and try to go to somebody's capital with them, and you can usually get some of their score graphs, which might be useful for you. Oh, seduction. Interesting. That might be fun. This also being a woman unit or a female unit, it will cause us to be able to seduce a lot more things. If we had a male seducer, of course, there's a lot of units in this game that are males already, so we can't seduce them. We'd only be able to seduce a female with that one. With this one, we can seduce male units, so more than likely there's going to be a lot of things that we're able to seduce, and we will have to more than likely use these guys for sure. Recuperation, nice. Stealthy, they have a different shape. They have a Swarmhive Princess. I wonder what they turn into. I assume another ant, because they are magical beings. So that's pretty cool. They are sacred. They have a chance to random, they have a 20% chance to random air, earth, water, or nature. All of them being fairly useful. Getting a double air would actually be really nice. And they're priest level 1. Okay. A mental shock attack. Ooh, this is a lot to read here. Armor negating, paralyzed damage, strength and will are not added. Magical resistance negate, so about average magical resistance will negate it. Weapon affected by penetration bonus. Cool. Doesn't affect violence to units. I wonder if this is like a mind burn. Or maybe, it doesn't look like a soul slow. It looks more like a mind burn. Range 100, precision 100, ammunition 10. This weapon is sometimes used in melee. Extra effect psychic shock. Damage 1 magical damage. Armor negating, max point of 1 damage. Not added, negates. Does not affect violence. Interesting. Maybe it's just more extra damage added on. Cool. And then they have their fist, but of course, more than likely, if you're going to use this unit, you're going to be putting equipment with them. Earth would be nice, great buffs. Or air would be nice just to have an air too. We'll probably use it in communions. Astral 2, really not needed. But they could cast things like Mind Burn and stuff. It'll help them out when they're trying to seduce things. And then a nature one probably be very good. Just be able to have a swarm caster whenever they're assassinating. So that'd be very cool. Okay. It kind of reminds me of a dryad, but at the same time, I know it's not a dryad. Interesting paths here, though. Definitely we'll have to try to use those guys. Then we have a God-Sworn General, can only be recruited in the capital. So we'll have to decide if these guys are worth capital turns. 225 gold, 65 resource points, Holy One, the Astral Random Chance, the Sacred, Defense Organizer of 2, so they do it 2 every turn instead of 1. Formation Fighter Taskmaster of 2. So they'll give a morale bonus of +2, and then the Taskmaster added on would be another +2. So if they're at morale 7, and if they were a slave, they'd be at 11. Kind of cool. What was the leadership of the other guy? Same. Okay, so more than likely we will not make many of these, and if we do, I'd be surprised. Due to the fact of their leadership only being 120 and then 40 leadership, we'll probably just be making these guys since they have the same leadership and magical leadership. We're only going to be using them for troop movement or troop leaders. That's going to be what it's for. So not really needed to go over that too much. Next we have a Swarmhive Queen. I feel like I definitely don't want to waste capital turns on the general there. But the Queen probably will be good. So I know their capital only 375 gold. Rather expensive. So they're going to take 2 turns in our citadel to make. Oof. That sucks. Magical resistance of 18, okay. Other than that, everything's average. Leadership of 40. Magical leadership of 140. So if you want to bring a lot of ants, this is the one that's going to do it for you. But honestly enough, well, we'll have to look at the randoms, of course. You might want one of these guys per army. So nature, no, so air, earth, 100% chance. Either one of them. You have a 100% chance to get air, earth, astral, nature. And then 20% chance for those paths again. So you're at least looking at a 4-path mage, 1 out of 4 of them being a 5-path mage. Not bad. Holy 3, nice. Just to cast Divine Blessing and such if it's needed. So they have a different shape as well. Siege bonus of 15, holy shit. Siege bonus 15.8, siege defense 7.9. Wow, okay. Recuperation, nice. Supply bonus of 20, okay. Tax collector, adept researcher, philosopher +1, taskmaster +2. True, but their regular thing is just 0 still because they have a low leadership value. And they're masons. Okay, so we will definitely have to be making some of these guys just due to the fact that they're going to be what we use to make citadels, I believe. Yeah, because if I remember correctly, let's turn back one more thing. Advanced forts starts with a grand citadel, and the queens can build better forts. Okay, so yeah, we're going to have to use the queens to make these citadels. They have a mind blast, which I assume is what kind of like relays mind blasts kind of are. And that might be what the other unit they had, the princess, is probably like too. But yeah, definitely going to want to make these guys due to the fact of them being masons. Hopefully enough, we'll also be able to really help out our allies in this. Maybe they'll give us their castle for a few turns and we can turn it into a citadel for them. That might be very, very useful for those guys. So, pretty cool. Pretty neat, I like that. Marmik Brigadier, special terrain required. Oh, this must be the amphibious line to him, of course. So this is just like our Brigadier, just an amphibious version. Everything seems to be the same. Actually, no, it might not be. Yeah, so instead of having a 10% chance to random earth and astral, we have a 10% chance to random water and astral. Okay. We already have up to water 2, so that leads me to believe we're not going to have to worry about water as far as a path goes, because once we get to construction 6, we'll be able to make a water bracelet. At that point, it only takes water 1 to actually forge that. Since we already have water 2s, we can give it to them. There'll be water 3. Well, water 3 can make a robe of the sea, I think it's called. It's a robe that gives a +1 to water. That takes them up to water 4. At that point, I think we can make the underwater troll king. Forget the name. Sea king. And I think they come out being water 3. So at that point, you could give the two boosters to him, and he'll be a water 5. And I think you can go farther from that. Actually, you can make I forget what the elemental royalty is for water, but of course you can go up that path to get even higher into water if it's needed. So that's definitely not going to be a path we need to worry about. We have a Marmec controller, can only be recruited underwater forts. So maybe there's something on land we can use to recruit these guys to let us have access to going underwater. See, these guys say required, special terrain required. But this says can only be recruited in underwater forts. So this seems to be an underwater mage. 80 gold, 24 resource points, and then a 100% chance to either be astral or water. Cool. 7 research. Formation. 70 magical leadership. That's not bad. Okay, not bad, not bad. And this says this one can be recruited in all caves. It's an Earth Astral. Or Earth or Astral. What makes this one different though? Not sure. Well, they have the mental shock here. Maybe that's what makes them different? I assume. 70 leadership there. And it seems like all of these bigger ants will come with... That one won't. These will. Come with smaller ants too, which is kind of cool. It's definitely going to add to your army size. Oh, they have the mental shock as well. Oops. And then last but not least, we have a Sea Father here. It says, can be recruited in all caves. No, oh goodness. I'm reading the wrong thing. Sea Father, special training required for recruitment. So maybe these are just all underwater recruitments. I'm not sure. Something we'll have to figure out in game. Like I said, guys, first impressions here. 185 gold. Priest level 1, water 2. Sacred, amphibious, gift of water breathing. So we'll be able to take units underwater with this guy. That wouldn't normally be there. Water 2. Might be able to do some useful things with water 2, like Frozen Heart and things like that. Or Frozen Heart spammers. Possibilities there. Kind of cool. Glad we have water access though. What did it say there? Cells and granting people water. Yeah. Yeah, we already spoke about the water breathing. So guys, cool. Pretty cool. I mean, I like it. I'll see what we can do. Definitely never played a nation like this, especially one that's not, or never played really much of a modded nation at all. I think I've subbed once or twice for 1 or 2, but they've never been like this modded, and where I've been playing as like ants and things. I mean, it's kind of cool. Almost being like human modded nation still. I'm definitely going to have to keep our eyes out for some caves so we can make some special units. The temple cost of 600 kind of sucks though. That's very unfortunate. But lab cost of 400. I mean, with every fort that we make, we're always going to need a lab in it regardless. So we can start our mage production. And if I remember correctly, that's not one. All of our mages are not sacred. That one is. That one is, but it's not really a mage. That's cap only. And then these guys, they're not sacred either. So honestly enough, whenever we make a castle, we only need to put a lab in it. And since labs cost 100 gold less, maybe that will kind of outweigh the temple cost whenever we need to put a temple up. I mean, I'm sure at some point we're going to need to, or we're going to want a lot of temples just because we would probably want to keep our dominion strong, depending on how large we grow. So that might be a problem later on, but we'll definitely be trying to put up temples and forts and caves for sure, just because we get so much night vision and things like that. So we probably benefit from if we ever took fights in there. So overall, I mean, I think it probably would even itself out eventually between the lab cost and the temple cost, but we would definitely have to see. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Um, Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys again on the next episode. Hopefully, it's going to be one where I am playing the nation as or playing the nation with all of the allies I'm going to have.